I should always do these adjustments before, but I don't. So here we are. Well, hello there, and welcome to Between the Weights, the live podcast, right? I wanted to talk about some terms that we like to use in the gym, right? And I think, I don't know that I need to state, well, let's just state this groundwork, right? I think language is important. The words that we decide to use are important, and therefore, they shouldn't just be thrown around, right? You don't just say a word interchangeably with other words and without changing the meaning. So, we have three words that we like to use in here in the gym a lot, and relating to exercise, relating to working out, right? And so we train, we do training, we do exercise, and then we do practice, right? Now these three things differ. There's kind of a nuanced difference in between these words, right? But there is a big difference. So let's start with training. Training is done with a specific goal in mind, right? So let's say a back squat, right? We train back squats because they incrementally get heavier as you incrementally get stronger, right? And we use the training of back squats to improve lots of the other physical things that we're gonna do, right? Because getting strong helps all of the other areas of fitness, right? We train a back squat to improve strength and to get stronger, right? Exercise is done for right now, and what we get from exercise is hot and sweaty, and we burn calories. But the difference between exercise and training is that training's effects are long-term, and they're for a specific determined goal, right? Exercise, while it helps us get our heart rate up right now, gets us sweaty and out of breath right now, makes us feel like we're gonna die right now, we recover from, and doesn't necessarily have long-term significant impacts, right? If you think about how long it takes to get strong, it takes a long time, right? It takes a lot of work to get strong. Conversely, it takes a long time to lose that strength, right? You'll hold on to strength a whole lot longer than you will your endurance, right? Endurance will come back fairly quickly and will go away fairly quickly once you stop, right? And that's kind of how we exercise. If you think about the stuff that we do on a daily basis, right? The lifting that we do is training. The lifting that we do is incrementally getting heavier, right? We titrate up the weight so that it's a little heavier each time so that you're getting stronger, right? And that strength can then be used in all of the other ways that we work out. And then exercise is kind of what the WOD's all about, right? It's getting you sweaty, getting your heart rate up real high, and all of those things, okay? Not that. So we definitely like exercise, and we feel that training is important, right? We may, or I may, prioritize training over exercise because training has long-term benefits, right? Specifically for older people, anyone really benefits from being stronger, right? Now, practice. If you think about, we'll say soccer, right? Any sort of youth sport, they go to practice, right? And what is practice? Practice is working on the skills necessary to accomplish some sort of task, right? Now, if that task is playing soccer, then the skills that you need to play soccer are to be able to handle the ball while moving quickly, right? If you're a goalie, you have different skills that you need to practice, okay? In the gym, things that are skills are like double unders, right? Jumping rope is a skill. The snatch and the clean, while they can be trained, they are skill-based, right? It takes a lot of skill. And of course, lots of our lifts, there is a measure of skill to them because we want them to be performed correctly in a very specific way, right? But practice, in order for practice to be, if practice, let me step back a second. If practice is you preparing for getting the skills necessary to perform a certain task, then in order for a thing to be practice, it needs to replicate what you will be asked to do during that task. Okay? So if, again, in our example, it's soccer, okay, your soccer practice needs to look a lot like the soccer game, or else you are not actually practicing soccer. Does that make sense? Right? So if at a soccer game you have certain positions and you run really fast and you play against other people, and you have people that are competing against you, trying to play the other way, right? You have two teams opposing each other, then practice needs to look like that. Practice needs to look like full speed with an opponent trying to prevent me from accomplishing my goal, right? Making a goal, okay? So, in the gym, when we do our warm-up sets, there is an argument that is not practice. Okay? When you do a squat with 50% of the weight on your back that you can do, that squat looks different than the squat you will do when there's 100% of what you can do on your back, right? Let's put that in numbers. When there's 500 pounds on your back, you squat that differently than you squat 200 pounds. Because 200 pounds is easy compared to 500 pounds, right? So in order for a thing to be practice, it needs to be as close to the actual event as possible, okay? So let's talk about pull-ups, right? Pull-ups are not a skill. Now, a butterfly pull-up, the motion of a butterfly would need to be learned, and you need to practice it, right? But the pull-up itself is not a skill, right? Pull-ups are simply a strength movement. Pull-ups can be trained to an extent, right? They're limited in their trainability because you cannot forever continue to add weight to the pull-up, right? But a pull-up it's not like a double under, right? You don't compare the two things together. Double unders, like you can't just magically say, I'm gonna do a double under, right? It takes practice to get double unders. And by practice, meaning you gotta just do lots of double unders, right? Pull-ups aren't the same thing. Pull-ups get improved by you either getting stronger or losing weight. Simply, right? Because if you're pulling your body weight up, a pull-up is hard if you're too heavy or too weak. So you can either become stronger or thinner, lighter. Let's put it lighter. How about that? and you're able to accomplish pull-ups, right? So pull-ups can be trained, they cannot be practiced. Cleans and snatches can be trained, right? And they can be practiced, but you can't practice a clean unless it is as close to 1 rep max clean as possible, right? It's got to be heavy, or else it's not practice anymore. Okay, so everyone wants to do less weight on the bar to practice their form, right? I want to get my form right, and then I'll add weight to the bar, right? The problem with that is you change the way you do it when it gets heavy. If you have not practiced the squat at weights that actually challenge you, then you're not improving. It's not actually practice. You're practicing something different. You're practicing squatting with a light bar, which isn't the same thing, which will not translate to you being able to continue to train your squats and improve on them in the future, right? So it's just some syntax here, but it's incredibly important that there is a difference between training, exercise, and practice, right? So don't just throw those words around. See ya.